You're listening to an archived Cabral Concept podcast. After listening to this show, check out the most up-to-date podcasts available at stephencabral.com/podcasts or search directly on iTunes. And now, welcome to the Cabral Concept, where board-certified naturopath and integrative health practitioner Dr. Stephen Cabral shares how he was diagnosed at the age of 17 with a life-altering illness and given no hope for recovery. It was only after studying and traveling all over the world did he discover how to combine ancient Ayurvedic healing practices with state-of-the-art naturopathic and functional medicine to fully rebalance the body and re-energize it with life. It's time to discover how to get well, lose weight, and finally feel alive again. And now, here's your host, Dr. Stephen Cabral.
Hi everyone, and welcome back to the Cabral Concept. Thanks so much for joining me here once again on our Motivation and Mindset Monday. I cannot wait to get into today's topic, going over why worrying, complaining, or making excuses is a waste of time. But not only that, I want to approach it from that of a clinical-based wellness practice. I want to show you how stress is literally the thing keeping many people back from achieving their wellness, whatever it may be, skin-based, autoimmune, digestion, migraines, etc., or weight loss-based, and I'll show you how it affects that too. And then it leads, of course, to aging. So one of the big things that we get in our practice is that people are looking to resolve a problem that's further down the line when they haven't dealt with what's in front of them. So, for example, we have a lot of people come into the practice and they want to work on anti-aging. They say, what do you think about using PQQ, NR, or acetylcholine? Like they'll go through all these different things. And I say, all of those have their time and place, and all of those can actually be beneficial. But what are we really talking about? Like, what are you looking to achieve? So it always comes back to getting crystal clear in life about what it is that you're really after, right? I mean, that's the whole thing. People say like, oh, I want to make more money. Well, why do you want to make more money? Is it just for the sake of making more money? Like, what does that money actually do? It does nothing until you put it towards something or giving you some type of feeling of safety, security, whatever it might be. Whatever you feel there's a lack of, you're looking to use that money in order to fill that void. Well, it could be the same for when we're talking about anti-aging. Well, I want to work on anti-aging. Okay, why did that even come up in your mind? They say, oh, well, I'm feeling fatigued. I'm feeling low energy. I don't have as much pep in my step that I used to. And that's why I'm looking at all these different one-off individual supplements that I've heard work towards that. And I would say, well, sure, all of those so-called hacks, and I put that in air quotes, can work, but they don't resolve what you're actually looking to achieve. So we can pretend that we're going to remedy that with a single nutrient, but the reason is that you feel tired, you feel run down, you don't have as much energy as you used to. So our question is to ask why, to get crystal clear on, okay, we know you want more energy. And then my follow-up question is, well, why do you want more energy? And they say, well, everyone wants more energy. And I say, okay, that might be true, but why do you want more energy? And they say, well, I'd really like to be able to have more patience with my children, with my family. And if I had more energy, I wouldn't be so tired, and I'd want to do that. I also would love to go back and, play some golf or some tennis or some whatever it might be with friends. And I'd also like not to feel like I'm going to fall asleep at, 6 o'clock at night. So I say, okay, all of those are good goals. You want to try to get more out of life. That's what it sounds like to me. And they'll say, yeah, that's it. I want to enjoy life more, right? Because it goes back to, for everyone, and I heard this the other day because I'm always working on my own inner peace and happiness too. And I feel like I pretty much have achieved that. But what I do is I have to hold on to it. That's the thing. It's slippery, right? We can have days where like, oh, where'd it go? What happened to that happiness I was holding on to? And that's because happiness is not something out there, right? That's nothing to try to reach out and grab. It's to draw from within yourself. But I was listening to this really nice audio, and it was talking about what we're really looking for is peace around us, outer peace around us, and peace within us. And that's what leads to our happiness. That's our feeling of calm. And that is where we feel like we are at peace, at one with ourselves and the world around us. So, that's if we look way down, we feel that sense of love and that sense of peace, and all of that is great, right? And so what we're talking about here is when we want to achieve a goal, we want to get crystal clear of what it's about. Now, here's what happens though. Immediately when you set a goal for yourself, you get into the mindset of, I don't have it yet. And that's what you constantly reaffirm with your subconscious mind. And the subconscious mind is that part of the body that runs on autopilot. It is a series of previous programs we've developed to keep us safe in life. It is that supercomputer inside of us that we are not totally aware of. Now, we can become aware of it, and I'll talk about that in just a moment, but I want to stay with this fact, is that the problem with most people in their goal setting, and when they're trying to use the law of attraction or they're trying to use visualization, is when they think about their goals, they think about themselves not having it, and that's the problem. That is where the big issue comes into play. Because if you are always thinking about what you don't have as in your goal, which is very true, by the way, you are reinforcing to your subconscious mind that you lack. And when you live in a state of lack, you get more of that lack. This is literally quantum mechanics and quantum physics at its best. It is the non-attraction to those things that you do actually want. And it is the vibrational mismatch of our atomic energy that keeps us away and repels us from whatever that goal is. We are not yet a good match for it. And here's how it gets worse, even worse. When we begin to worry or talk negatively about that goal that we don't have it, it further reinforces that we are not ready for it, that we lack it, that we don't have it, and it will probably never come true. This is one of the main reasons why not only is worrying and complaining, and I'll talk about the excuses in a moment, a waste of time, it's actually worse than a waste of time. It's detrimental to you getting the life that you want. And I'll tell you right now that, and this is one of my favorite things, every time you go to spend time worrying about what you don't have, you are basically sinking deeper in quicksand. Here's what we need to do. We cannot struggle, just like when in quicksand, against what we don't already have. We have to control simply what we can control. And what typically most of us are able to do is take an action to become the type of person who would then believe they are worthy of achieving that goal. I want to go back and just repeat that in a little different way. Every time you feel like you can achieve whatever it is that you want to achieve in life, whether it be wellness, weight loss, career, relationship, body transformation, or spirituality, every time you start to worry about it, complain about it, whatever it is, simply catch yourself. This is why self-awareness is something that I preach so much about. Become self-aware of what you're doing and immediately begin to either stop or cancel and start to take one step of action that you can do to actually move closer to your goal. Whether it's take a note or think about something creative, or you can even take notes for yourself of how you're going to actually step towards that goal. Because all you are doing is pushing yourself away, taking steps back every time you complain. So now what I want you to do is replace that with, you don't have to believe yet that you have it. I would love for you to do that, and I want to touch on that. But what I need you to do is say, okay, I don't have it. This is a more realistic approach to the law of attraction. You say, but here's what I'm going to do to move towards it. And then as you start to do the things to become the person who's worthy of achieving that, you'll believe that, hey, I'm doing the things, I'm taking the actions, I'm thinking the thoughts, I'm setting up the plans. I do deserve this. Now, instead of being someone that worries whether they're going to achieve it, worries that they're not worthy of it, you say, no, I'm doing the work. I deserve this. When you feel you are deserving of it, it's then simply a matter of time, not a matter of if. Always remember that. Simply the timeline might be a little longer than you thought, but it's never a matter of if. When I look back in my life of all these different things that I've always wished of and always dreamed of, it's funny, but some of them happened 5 years later, 10 years later. It's really crazy. I want to share some stories in a future Motivation and Mindset Monday of things that I set for myself, visions that I had, and how they came true is often in a different way than I possibly ever imagined. And that's what I want you to keep yourself open to as well, of how you are going to achieve your goal is not always for you to decide, but you do have to believe. And for many people, instead of the complaining, instead of the worrying, instead of making excuses excuse you from doing any of the work that you need to in order to achieve that goal. Excuses saying that, oh, everyone in my family has high cholesterol, so I have high cholesterol too. I'm just going to take a statin. Okay, well, that excuses you from actually changing the diet, changing the nutrition, lowering your stress, balancing your magnesium, doing all the things that you would need to do to lower your cholesterol naturally, right? Or, oh, everyone in my family has low thyroid. Okay, well, maybe, yeah, because maybe everyone in your family also trends towards lower levels of iodine or lower levels of selenium or lower levels of zinc or lower levels of B6. Or maybe you don't do a good job in your family of processing and eliminating mercury or arsenic or bromine, right? Maybe everyone has that. But you know what? Everyone could be rebalanced if they were able to get those nutrients in and get those toxins out. So yes, maybe you're all genetically prone to that, but that does not mean that that's an excuse. You can use it as an excuse, but then you have to deal with the low thyroid, and the low thyroid can lead to the thinning of the eyebrows, thinning of the eyelashes, thinning of the hair, the lower energy, lower libido, brain fog, poor circulation, the cold hands and cold feet, right? Well, sure. Well, here's what we can do. We can suffer from those symptoms, or we can begin to rebalance the body. So excuses are worse. They're even worse than complaining. They're at a deeper, lower vibrational level, because excuses are essentially saying, I give up, wasn't me, I'm not taking responsibility. Now, this is some hard pills sometimes to swallow, no pun intended, but I've had to go through this myself. I said, here's the thing. You know what? I was given some bad information from doctors when I was younger. I was given all sorts of different bad cultural suggestions of what I should be doing, how I should be thinking. And I could say, I could blame everything and everyone. But here's the thing, though. That doesn't get me anywhere. It doesn't get me anywhere, and it actually makes me worse. Why? Because I just get more angry. Now, if I wasn't the Pitta-based mindset, if I was the Vata-based mindset, I'd have more anxiety. And if I was the Kapha-based mindset, I'd get more depressed. I'd get deeper and deeper into a hole. And so here's what I say. Instead of feeling any of those feelings, what I need to do is empower myself. I don't have the answers when I haven't achieved a goal. Because if I had the answers, I'd probably already have achieved the goal. So what I do is I work backwards and I say, I don't know the answer yet, but I know how to find it out. And I'm going to go seek out the books or the mentors in order for me to realize what it is I need to do to become the person who is worthy of achieving the body, wellness, mindset, relationship, career, or spirituality. I need to model that of other successful people that have done it before me. So yes, I could make the excuses that I don't like my genetics. I don't like this type of relationship or this type of family or this type of doctor or this type of whatever. You can make all of those excuses, but you can also say that was part of my journey. Now I get the benefit of learning from that, and I also know what not to do. And I'll tell you this, I've learned so much in life of what not to do. Sometimes I actually believe that I've learned more about what to do in life from what not to do, rather than modeling what to do. And that's okay too. You can learn however you want. And I like to assimilate all of that. And I actually like to be grateful for all of the things that I've been taught not to do by making all of those mistakes myself, because it was part of my journey. And I'm willing to absorb that, and I'm willing to know that. I actually feel that it's given me a much richer life. And I look now, and I look at my two young daughters, and I say, don't make those mistakes. Don't make those mistakes. Don't say those things. Don't act that way. And I'm working through that in my mind so that just like my parents did for me and their parents hopefully did for them, like we're all just trying to get a little bit better, right? Nobody's perfect, but what we're trying to do is this. We're simply trying to do better. That's all that you can do. And I will make mistakes, and sometimes I catch myself right away. I shouldn't have said that. I shouldn't have done that. And all I can do is say, oh, that was a mistake. And I admit it right away. I mean, I really do. Sometimes I'm a little bit more stubborn, and it might take me a couple hours, but I say, okay, Here's what happened. Here's what I was thinking. It's not an excuse. This is why I did it. I apologize. Time to move on. Part of that is I'm simply owning it for myself. Because I don't want to make the excuse, oh, I was tired, I was frustrated, I had a hard day, etc. Okay, all of that may be true, but it's not an excuse for me to not do my best. So now doing my best is simply making that apology, making that thing saying, you know what, I'm not perfect. It might happen again. It really might. But I'm going to work to not having it happen again. And so that's why I'll tell you, going back, looking at your life, being more self-aware, owning it is the most powerful thing that you can do. And here's why. When you worry, so here's the thing, when you worry, it robs your entire life. It robs you in every area. So if you're worried about a relationship or you're worried about your health, it's absolutely affecting your career. It's absolutely affecting your body. I mean, stress alone affects the immune system. It begins to lower your front line of defense. It lowers, and I've talked about a type of immune cell called secretory IgA or immunoglobulin A. And that is the front line defense from viruses and bacteria and colds entering the body through the eye, nose, and mouth. I mean, that's it. So when you look at that, stress weakens you. And you might say, oh, well, I'm super stressed all the time and I haven't gotten sick. Well, here's the thing. You will get sick once you come down off that high in the roller coaster. That's what happens. A lot of times people go away on vacation. They finally get a little downtime. And then all of a sudden they get sick. And they say it was the airplane. No, it wasn't the airplane. It was you getting now into that parasympathetic nervous system where the body now can begin to heal. We look at this all the time in our practice. And the reason why today's podcast topic came up was that we have a few people, not a lot, but a half dozen. We see hundreds and hundreds of people each month. So here's the thing. There's a few people out there where the main thing that's wrong with them at this point is all to do with the mindset. Now, I am someone that is very clinically based and scientific based. I run labs we run labs every single day of the week. I look at labs every day of the week. People order from all over the world. I read those labs. I make recommendations. Now, some people, though, we do before and afters on the organic acids test or a gut-based test, and they come back, now they're good. Yet they still have digestive issues. They still have bloating. And we look at the microbiome, and the microbiome is balanced. And we say, okay. And when they wake up, they're okay. And it's when they start to eat, they get bloated again. And here's the issue. Now, I'm very sensitive to this topic because I was told for many years it was all in my head. And it's called psychosomatic illnesses. Psycho is not a negative term. It comes from psyche, which means our mind, okay? And somatic comes from soma, and that means the body. So it's mind affecting body. So this is not a negative term, psychosomatic. Now, people use it as a negative term saying there's nothing really wrong. That's actually not true, and I want to explain that. So when we get stressed, when we worry about all of these different things, and I'm showing you how it robs every areas of your life, that can actually affect, yes, your immune system, but also your digestive system. These are just examples. So the immune system could cause dysfunction in an autoimmune issue. Okay, so that's a really big one. Or it cause migraines because of constriction or a flow of blood to the brain. So here's the thing. When you are stressed, you actually can begin to slow the peristaltic movement in your intestines. And there's about 26 feet. So what happens is, when you eat food, it can sit a little longer in the stomach. It can begin to ferment. It makes its way to the intestines, and there's not that wave-like structure that helps to move it along. So what does it do? Well, it begins to putrefy there. And that putrefaction causes methane or other types of gas. And that gas begins to blow up the intestines, literally begins to expand them with extra air or gas. And that causes bloating. So what happens is that it's not just all in your head, no, but your stress, the mind, can actually affect the physiology of the body, which is why I want to tell you that much of the time, our worry and our complaining and our anger, all of that does affect us, not just in working towards our goals and what we want in life and being a happy person, but it can actually begin to break down our body as well. So it's vitally important that we don't, and if you're working with an integrative health practitioner, if you're working with a functional medicine doctor, if you're working with anyone that's trying to help you also with your overall health and body transformation, if you're working with a personal trainer or coach, you have to understand is that part of it, absolutely part of it, can be the stress and the weight of the world that we carry around with us. And if you're always simply worried that something can go wrong, you have to understand that that is the same for everyone. Something could always go wrong. And most likely in life, some things will. But you have to go back and you have to bring it back to what I was talking about in the beginning of the show. And that is that you have to empower yourself. You have to empower yourself to know that you are strong enough to make it through whatever challenges you're dealing with. And that will help mind and body. And it will spread out through every area of your life, in career, relationships, body transformation, spirituality, your overall wellness. You have to understand is that as you become better in any one area, as you start to accumulate wins in any part of your life, your self-confidence grows. You begin to look at yourself as a goal achiever. You start to feel more self-confidence. Your self-image improves, and you begin to feel that power within you. Use that then. Move on to your next challenge. Instead of looking at everything as problems and things that you don't have yet in life, look at it as challenges. Look at it as part of the adventure. You are on a journey right now in life. The journey simply moves from one step to the next. Whatever you achieve now, there will be something next to achieve. That is not a bad thing. That simply means growth. But if you don't achieve the next thing, you don't get to grow to that next step. You don't get to move forward in life. You're constantly stuck where you are. So don't think that you need to jump 4, 5, 10 stones ahead like some of the anti-aging clients that we're working with. Work on what you have to do right now, right? If you have digestive issues, fix that right now before you want to work on your total anti-aging. If you have Hashimoto's or rheumatoid arthritis or migraines or psoriasis or whatever it might be, work on those right now, right? If you need to lose 30, 40, 50 pounds, work on that and then, yes, carry it over to every part of your life. Then you can begin to look towards the next step. Do whatever's right in front of you right now. And I know that's not always the most fun thing. That's not the most exciting thing, but it's the thing that you have to do. You have to do what's in front of you so that you clear the path to what you want to do next. Get all of that out of the way. Make space in life. That is what I found helps tremendously. When you make space, both literally in your life and in your mind, you decrease bandwidth. It allows you then to make that next step. Not only do you get to make the next step, but you have much more crystal clear thinking, which allows you to now become locked in on what it is that you want to achieve. When you know what you want to achieve, again, it's not a matter of if, it's a matter of when. If you are willing to do the work, we have to do the work anyways, right? We're always doing the work in life. We are always doing the work. We're either doing the work that we don't like or we start to do the work that we do like, right? So no matter what, you have to be moving in life. So do the work. Move towards your goals. Do the hard things. Pick up the challenges. They are the most rewarding. I cannot stress that enough. Whatever you're struggling with right now can and will be overcome, but I need you to do this. Every time you catch yourself worrying about it, every time you catch yourself complaining, every time you see yourself and hear yourself making excuses, especially to others or even to yourself, I want you to say, oh, I'm doing it again. Okay, got it. I need to stop that. It's stopped now. Instead of complaining, what's one thing I can do right now or maybe tomorrow in order to get away from that, in order to move forward in life? What is one thing that I can do? And start to fixate on that. Fixate on even the work. If you can't see yourself in the future you enjoying that life that you want, well then see yourself doing the work, which if you do the work, no doubt about it, you will achieve the thing, right? That's all. That, to me, seems to work better for a lot of people out there who aren't great at visualizing themselves in that end state. That's what I would love you to do, but if you can't do that, I understand. I get it. I've been there myself, but I can visualize myself reading the book, talking with a coach, or doing the work that I know if I do enough of that work, enough of that study, that I will then be able to achieve the thing that I want. Hopefully this has been helpful today. I'm telling you right now, stay positive. Good things are coming if they're not already there in your life right now. Again, hope this was helpful. As always, please do feel free to share this show with anyone you believe it can serve. Have an amazing day. I want to sincerely thank you for your support of this podcast. I couldn't do it without you, and I mean that. I truly do. I also want to make sure you knew that we now have multiple ways for you to find your answers to the most difficult health, wellness, weight loss, and anti-aging questions. You can find podcast-specific topics like thyroid, adrenal, hormones, sleep, digestion, Ayurveda, and many more at stevencabral.com/podcasts that will then link you to your favorite Apple, Spotify, and other podcast players. Plus, all new podcasts and weekly exclusive video content is being added to our YouTube channel at youtube.com/Stephen Cabral. And that's Stephen with a PH. Head on over and subscribe so that you don't miss any of the exclusive content. Lastly, if you've ever found any of my podcasts or books to be helpful, I would really appreciate it if you could leave a review on iTunes or your favorite media player for the podcast. Rating and subscribing to the YouTube and podcast allow me to reach more and more people and help spread my mission of healing throughout the world. Thank you again for being a part of this movement.